Good evening. I'm bringing you the latest developments from across the nation and around the world. This is Big Back News. We begin tonight with a major legal development in the ongoing debate over U.S. immigration enforcement. A federal judge has issued a significant ruling ordering the Trump administration to release a 5-year-old child and his father from immigration detention within a strict 3-day time frame. This judicial mandate highlights the ongoing legal challenges and humanitarian concerns surrounding U.S. immigration policies and the detention of families. The order underscores a persistent tension between the administration's hardline immigration enforcement strategies and judicial oversight regarding the welfare of detained individuals, particularly minors. Such rulings often set precedents or at least signal the judiciary's stance on specific aspects of immigration law and practice. This development is a critical moment for the family involved, offering a potential pathway to freedom from detention. The case involves Liam Conejo Ramos, the 5-year-old boy, and his father, who have been at the center of national attention. Following the judge's order, the two have been released from an immigration detention center and arrived in Minneapolis. Their release follows a significant legal decision drawing national attention to the intricacies and challenges within the U.S. immigration system, particularly regarding the detention of families and minors. The circumstances of their case have fueled ongoing public and political discussions surrounding humanitarian concerns and legal protocols in immigration enforcement. This event not only represents a personal victory for the Conejo Ramos family, but also contributes to the broader national dialogue on immigration policies, detention practices, and the rights of asylum seekers within the United States. Turning now to the political landscape, we have news of a shift in the balance of power in Congress. Democrat Christian Menefee has successfully won a special election for a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. This victory is particularly significant as it results in a further narrowing of the Republican Party's already slender majority in the House. Menefee's win, while not sufficient to change the overall control of the chamber, nonetheless tightens the legislative margin for the GOP. This outcome could have considerable implications for the passage of bills and the broader legislative agenda, potentially making it more challenging for Republicans to advance their policies through Congress. This election result underscores the highly competitive and often volatile nature of contemporary American politics, signaling potential shifts in voter sentiment even in individual races. Both major parties will undoubtedly scrutinize this outcome closely as they formulate strategies for upcoming general elections, highlighting the ongoing struggle for legislative power in the U.S. The news from Texas is similarly impactful, where a Democrat has flipped a state Senate seat in Tarrant County, a traditionally competitive yet often Republican-leaning region of the state. This victory represents a notable gain for the Democratic Party and signals potential changes in voter sentiment or demographics within the county, underscoring the dynamic nature of Texas politics and the potential for closely contested elections. In other national news, significant changes are coming to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as SNAP or food stamps. New regulations for SNAP are scheduled to go into effect starting tomorrow. These impending changes will impact a substantial number of individuals and families across the United States who depend on SNAP for crucial food assistance. The updated rules could introduce modifications to eligibility criteria, alter the amount of benefits received, or adjust administrative processes for current and prospective SNAP recipients. Such changes are anticipated to have considerable financial and logistical implications for low-income households, potentially affecting their access to essential nutritional support. The implementation of these new SNAP rules is part of the government's ongoing efforts to reform social welfare programs, often sparking widespread debate among policymakers, advocacy groups, and the public. Former President Trump has issued a statement indicating that federal forces will refrain from intervening in protests occurring within cities led by Democratic administrations unless explicitly requested to do so by local authorities. This declaration outlines a specific and conditional stance on federal involvement in civil demonstrations across the nation. This position marks a notable departure from certain approaches taken by previous administrations regarding civil unrest and underscores the persistent tension between federal and local governance. The statement particularly touches upon the deployment of law enforcement and the maintenance of public order during large-scale demonstrations, suggesting a stricter prerequisite for federal intervention. Trump's remarks could significantly influence how Democratic-led cities prepare for and respond to protests, potentially placing increased responsibility on local and state law enforcement agencies. Former President Trump is also steadfastly continuing his defense of key allies, specifically former ICE Director Thomas Homan and South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, amidst an ongoing wave of backlash concerning immigration enforcement policies. This sustained defense underscores a consistent political position on one of the nation's most contentious issues. The defense comes as Homan and Noem face significant public and political criticism regarding their respective roles and statements on immigration enforcement, which have drawn scrutiny for their perceived severity or specific actions. Trump's unwavering support for these figures reinforces his long-held hardline stance on immigration, serving to energize his political base. A major nurses' union in the United States is reportedly conducting clandestine training sessions aimed at countering the actions of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. These sessions suggest a coordinated effort by healthcare professionals to resist or challenge federal immigration policies, particularly as they impact vulnerable populations. The nature of these secretive trainings implies a heightened level of organizational commitment and a potential for direct action or advocacy against ICE operations. This development highlights growing tension between segments of the healthcare sector, which often interact with immigrant communities and federal immigration enforcement agencies. Moving to international developments, the global community is closely monitoring escalating tensions involving Iran. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, has issued a stern warning that any military aggression from the United States against Iran would inevitably trigger a broader regional conflict. This statement comes amidst heightened tensions in the Middle East, particularly concerning the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, and various proxy conflicts involving Iran-backed groups. The declaration underscores the volatile geopolitical climate in the region, with concerns that any direct confrontation could spiral out of control, drawing in multiple regional and international actors. Such a scenario would have profound implications for global stability, energy markets, and international relations, significantly escalating the current security challenges. Adding to its provocative stance, Iran has formally designated the armies of European Union member states as terrorist groups in a tit-for-tat move, escalating tensions between Tehran and the bloc. This declaration comes as a direct retaliation for the EU's recent decision to impose sanctions on Iranian entities and individuals, including elements of the Revolutionary Guard, for alleged human rights abuses and its nuclear program activities. The mutual designation marks a significant deterioration in diplomatic relations. The Iranian parliament passed legislation allowing the government to label EU armed forces as terrorist organizations, reflecting deep resentment over European policies. While largely symbolic, this move complicates any potential future engagement or de-escalation efforts, as it formalizes an adversarial stance. An Iranian official has stated that the country's Revolutionary Guards do not currently have plans to conduct military exercises in the Persian Gulf. This announcement comes amid heightened regional tensions and ongoing international scrutiny of Iran's military activities and its naval presence in strategic waterways. The statement aims to clarify Iran's immediate military posture in the sensitive Gulf region, which is crucial for global oil shipments and has seen several confrontations and incidents in recent years. However, a blast in an Iranian port city has resulted in 1 death and 14 injuries, occurring shortly before a planned naval drill in the Strait of Hormuz, an event being closely monitored by the United States. The incident adds to existing tensions in the critical waterway, a key global oil choke point. In Ukraine, a recent Russian drone strike targeted the Dnipropetrovsk region, resulting in the deaths of 12 miners, according to Ukrainian officials. This attack highlights the continued human cost of the ongoing conflict, with civilian infrastructure and non-military personnel frequently becoming casualties in the protracted war. The strike underscores the persistent threat posed by aerial assaults in various Ukrainian regions, far from the immediate front lines. A recent Russian strike in Ukraine has also reportedly resulted in the deaths of 12 individuals near a bus, according to Ukrainian officials. This incident marks another tragic loss of civilian life in the ongoing conflict, underscoring the indiscriminate nature of the warfare and the devastating impact on Ukrainian communities. The ongoing war, now in its third year, continues to exact a heavy toll on Ukraine's infrastructure and its people. In the Middle East, Israel is opening the Rafah crossing in Gaza, a crucial humanitarian gateway, amidst ongoing hostilities that have already claimed dozens of lives. This development comes as the region continues to grapple with intense violence, with numerous fatalities reported from recent Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip. The opening of Rafah offers a glimmer of hope for the delivery of much-needed aid and the potential movement of people, despite the prevailing deadly conflict. Recent Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have reportedly resulted in the deaths of 30 Palestinians, including several children. This surge in violence comes amidst delicate negotiations aimed at securing a ceasefire in the embattled region. Israel has reportedly moved to ban Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders, from operating in Gaza. This decision follows MSF's refusal to provide a list of its local staff members to Israeli authorities, citing principles of neutrality and the protection of humanitarian workers in conflict zones. A prominent Venezuelan human rights activist has been released from a notorious jail, an event that occurred amidst a broader prisoner release in the country. This development is seen by international observers as a potentially significant, albeit cautious, step in the complex political landscape of Venezuela. A U.S. envoy has arrived in Venezuela to discuss the reopening of diplomatic missions after a 7-year hiatus. This development comes after a prolonged period of strained relations marked by political instability in Venezuela and U.S. sanctions against the South American nation. Pope Leo has issued a call for the United States and Cuba to engage in sincere dialogue, highlighting the importance of diplomatic engagement between the two nations. This papal appeal underscores the Vatican's long-standing interest in fostering reconciliation and improving relations between countries. From Slovakia, the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister has reportedly resigned from his position following revelations of alleged links to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This high-profile resignation in a European government adds another layer to the international ripple effects of the Epstein scandal. The newly unsealed documents related to Jeffrey Epstein have begun to trigger significant international fallout, including a resignation in Slovakia and renewed calls in Britain for a former prince to cooperate with investigations. Speaking of the Epstein case, here in the United States, the Deputy Attorney General announced that no new federal charges would be filed in connection with the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case. This decision comes after extensive investigations following Epstein's death and previous legal actions. As a contempt vote looms, newly released documents from the Jeffrey Epstein case are shedding light on the connections between the convicted sex offender and prominent figures, including the Clintons. The U.S. Department of Justice has released a new batch of documents related to the late financier, shedding more light on his extensive network and activities. Among the various disclosures, a photograph purportedly showing Britain's Prince Andrew in a compromising position with a woman has garnered significant attention. In other national news, Nathan Chasing Horse, an actor recognized for his role in the acclaimed film Dances with Wolves, has been convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault. The verdict follows a protracted legal process stemming from serious allegations of abuse. A recent report has sparked significant consumer concern by revealing the detection of arsenic in a substantial number of popular candy products widely available across the United States. The investigation, which analyzed various confectionery items, found measurable levels of the toxic heavy metal in 28 different candy types. In Florida, the state has implemented new measures targeting foreign drivers, specifically mandating an English-only policy in certain contexts. A couple in Florida has filed a lawsuit against a fertility clinic after discovering an alleged embryo mix-up, asserting a profound moral obligation to locate the genetic parents of the embryos involved. A U.S. state is experiencing an unusual and severe cold snap, resulting in a unique natural phenomenon. Iguanas in the region are becoming stunned and immobile due to the freezing temperatures. In response to this unexpected consequence of the cold, authorities have issued an unusual directive, granting residents and visitors the green light to collect these stunned, invasive iguanas. Former President Trump's rhetoric and actions have created a bizarro world in America's gun politics, fundamentally altering traditional debates and alignments. In an evolving shift in American gun culture, leftist and liberal gun groups are experiencing a significant surge in new memberships. A significant generational divide is emerging within Maine's Democratic Party as a pivotal Senate race unfolds, with incumbent Republican Susan Collins awaiting the outcome. Turning now to the financial markets, the cryptocurrency market is experiencing a significant downturn as Bitcoin, the leading digital asset, has fallen below the crucial $80,000 threshold. Bitcoin experienced a notable dip below the $79,000 mark, with market analysts attributing the decline to a confluence of factors, including a significant sell-off in silver and speculation surrounding former President Trump's potential pick for Federal Reserve chair. Former President Trump has publicly stated that he welcomes investment from China and India into Venezuela's oil sector. This headline indicates a day of negative performance for the U.S. stock market, specifically highlighting underperformance in key sectors. The weakness was primarily attributed to two significant segments of the market: chip stocks and mining companies. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang has clarified that an anticipated investment in OpenAI by his company was never a commitment. A royal from Abu Dhabi has reportedly acquired a stake in a cryptocurrency venture associated with Donald Trump. AstraZeneca, a major pharmaceutical company, is reportedly moving to list its shares on a New York stock exchange. This strategic move underscores the immense importance of the United States capital markets and the broader U.S. economy for global pharmaceutical giants. The electric vehicle market is currently experiencing a pullback, and this impacts manufacturing facilities and employment in the southern United States. In technology news, SpaceX is planning an ambitious project to deploy a vast network of solar data centers into Earth's orbit, potentially deploying 1 million such facilities. SpaceX is reportedly pursuing ambitious plans requiring federal approval. Waymo, Google's autonomous driving technology company, is reportedly in the process of securing a substantial $16 billion funding round. India has unveiled an aggressive policy initiative designed to attract global artificial intelligence workloads by offering zero taxes on these operations through the year 2047. Indonesia has announced that it will conditionally lift its ban on Grok, the artificial intelligence chatbot developed by xAI, Elon Musk's AI venture. Tesla, the leading electric vehicle and clean energy company, is reportedly embarking on a significant rebranding initiative. The social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, experienced a significant outage, making the service inaccessible to a large number of users globally. Turning now to our local New York City news. New York City is facing a somber public health crisis as the death toll from cold exposure has risen to 13, highlighting the severe impact of winter conditions on the city's vulnerable populations. The mayor's office is reportedly struggling to formulate an adequate and effective response to the escalating crisis, drawing criticism from advocates and community leaders. City Council member Mamdani has announced the appointment of Stanley Richards, a respected figure known for his reform efforts in correctional systems, to a key role overseeing Rikers Island. Richards' background as a former inmate who later became a prominent advocate for criminal justice reform positions him as a unique and experienced leader for this critical undertaking. The family of a Queens man who was fatally shot by police officers has voiced a plea for medical assistance rather than law enforcement intervention in crisis situations, stating, "We wanted EMS, not NYPD." This tragic incident has reignited the contentious debate surrounding the appropriate response to mental health emergencies and nonviolent calls involving individuals in distress. City Council member Mamdani has also announced the appointment of Dr. Alistair Martin to head the NYC Health Department. This decision signals a new direction for the agency, responsible for safeguarding the well-being of millions of city residents. New York City schools are set to introduce new rules governing the use of artificial intelligence this month, acknowledging the transformative impact of technology on educational environments. New York City residents are expressing frustration over mounting piles of uncollected garbage 7 days after a winter storm hit the area. The city has maintained limited collection services, leading to significant trash buildup across neighborhoods. A veteran New York City police officer has been arrested for allegedly stealing a $275 trinket from a high-end fitness store in the city. Brett Ratner, the Hollywood director who recently directed a film about Melania Trump, appears in newly released Department of Justice photographs from the Jeffrey Epstein case. LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman's email communications with Jeffrey Epstein have also been revealed in newly released Department of Justice documents. The Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly expect Aaron Rodgers to become their quarterback, though the deal comes with significant conditions. That's the news for tonight. This is Big Back News. Thank you for joining us. Stay informed, and we'll see you next time.